All right, guys. So in this next video, I'm going to show you guys what we've been doing in the studio, or what we're going to be doing in our studio in terms of tracking numbers. So one of the things we'll know that when it comes to retention is number of sessions the client is attending on a regular basis, whether it be 2 times, 3 times, 4 times a week, depending your group training facility, or maybe you are a PT studio. If you're looking at tracking the attendance in a group studio setting, this is probably one of the better ways you can look at being able to implement it into your facility. Because we know that when someone is not attending the group training sessions on a regular basis, such as I say 3 times a week and above, we tend to find them will drop off. Now, if you know these guys are only going to be training, let's say 2 times a week, and they are going to be doing something else, this wouldn't quite work. But this is how you can set up a tracking mechanism inside your studio, and then you can place them into whether it be an alert or a message that goes out, or maybe like put it into a particular pipeline stage where your clients will be contacted by one of your coaches that will then check on how they're going in the studio. This is what you need to have. So I'm going to walk you through the prerequisites, what you need to have within the system. So you need to have a couple of different data points that you can build around the workflow. So the first thing you need to have is within your workflow, you're going to need to have a weekly attendance number. So you need to have a mechanism within your studio that you can actually track that number. We use a Zoda, so it's an automatic tracking process where every time they checks in, you can update a particular field, and it will say one session a week have that they've attended. Okay, so when they check in, they will be able to go update a contact, and then you'll update a particular field. If you got MindBody, if you got maybe Gym Master, you have to find a different ways that you can track that particular mechanism. You can use a QR code that can come in. Maybe it's like something that can scan in when they opt in and can say, yes, I attended the class today. And that could actually track and increase a number or update a number within the tracking mechanism as well too. So that is the first you need to have. So you need to have the ability to track when they have attended. So the first thing we've got here is we have got a number of attendance. So this in this instance, in our situation, is that this particular field gets updated every time they checks into the studio. So the moment they go into the studio, they book a class, and they checks in, this number of attendance will increase by 1. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, once we do that particular process, this part here, you are going to need to have another um, field in the workflow that is going to track their weekly attendance number. You can track this on a weekly basis or fortnightly basis. It's really up to you. You just need to have a particular field that can calculate how many sessions they've attended based on the changes in the number of attendance field. So just want to make sure that you're not getting lost in this process. So one field is tracking how many times they have attended, and the other one is tracking how many times they have attended on a weekly or a window, right? And the reason why I wanted to do it this way is because when I look at the workflow, let me go into the workflow list. So here we go. You're going to need to have two workflows. One's going to be a weekly tracking attendance or fortnightly attendance tracker. The first one is going to be based on a math operation when you need to decide what that trigger is. In this case, ours is when the attendance, no, not attendance record, the number of attendance has changed. That's our case, has changed. So what this is saying is that when someone has come in, checking the class, this field gets updated. The moment it gets updated or changed, it's going to satisfy this particular trigger, and it's going to then add 1 into the weekly attendance number. Okay, so every time they check in, they will then jump in there and they will add 1 value into that particular field. Okay, so that is the first workflow. Now, you can add different triggers in here. So for example, you can add a trigger in, say it could be a QR code attendance. So it could be something like they come in, scan a QR code, and they can click on a button that says check-in, and you can have it set up in a way that is a sticky contact. You can hide all the fields. While I'm actually thinking, what am I actually show you what you can actually do? You can actually do a field that is able to hide the fields, and you can actually press submit, and that button is a trigger link, and that can actually, actually trigger that particular event. I'm gonna do another video to show you how you can do that. So the way the form will look, So you can do a form and it will have just a button. So when they scan a QR code, it will then, they can click on the button, and because that button is a trigger link, it will just go to a thank you page that says you're checked in, and then that will then add that particular number in there as well too. So once they do that, they're then going to then also going to be added into this particular workflow. So remember, this is a 7-day window. Okay, so in our case, it's going to be a 7-day window. So what we're going to do in this particular weekly attendance tracker is that I'm going to wait 7 days. And reason why I want to wait 7 days, I want to see that the moment they've checked in the first time, in the 7-day window, how many times have they attended? And then based on that 7-day window period, if their attendance is under 3, okay, I'm going to put a filter in place saying when the weekly attendance number is under 3, so they've only come here twice, I'm going to send them a quick message in here as just says, hey, notice you haven't been training as frequently. I want to check in to see if there's anything I can help you with. Simple message. Or you can actually go into here and actually create a pipeline that you want to update an opportunity in there. And or you can actually go into here and actually send an internal notification to a team member that says, hey, this person have only come twice this week, please get in touch with them. Or we can add a task. So I'm just giving you the framework, what you can do once you understand the whole concept of the workflow. Okay, so in this case, we are going to send them a message. And then what's going to be really important is that after the 7-day window period, we're now going to go into this step and clear the field, which is a weekly attendance number, to 0. So we're going to clear it. So then it starts again every 7 days. So every single week we are able to loop this particular contact. Once they come into the workflow, it's going to stay in the loop. It will go into this loop, and it will then go to the clear field. It will go back to the top, wait for 7 days, and then it's going to see what's going to happen in that particular process. And if you don't want to send an SMS, then you don't have to. And you can expand this workflow to however you want it to look. I'm not going to tell you what you can do with it, but you may want to find to add a human touch to it. It's better to have just maybe update a contact into a opportunity or into a pipeline, like a check-in attendance tracker, and that person can become maybe a potential orange pipeline stage. And that is how you can do that particular check-in process for you to track how many people are coming in and whether they're training every single week, or whether their training has dropped off, or whatever that may look like. And that's how you can do that. So I hope that makes sense. Let me just recap. You need to have 2 fields. You need to have, firstly, a way to trigger the event that updates how many sessions they are coming, or update a particular number. And that could be something, in our case, we have a field within our Zoto and ACR platform that will do automatically. If you other ways of doing it, you can actually go into a form as a check-in, and that will just update a particular number. And then that's going to update 1, and then the weekly attendance number will then add that value by 1 every single time it does that. And then you're going to have another workflow that waits for 7 days or 14 days, depending on what your window may look like when it comes to checking in with them. Then you're going to go all the way through to make sure you have a condition in there to say, based on these conditions, I want to see who I need to contact based on the lack of attendance. Okay, so this is what this workflow is for. And once you do that, then you're going to have the ability to not only send a message to your team, put a task for your team to follow them up, or we can put into opportunity for you to visually see that this person is at risk because they're falling under training 2 sessions a week. So that's how you can do a attendance tracking in your business, and I hope this brings a lot of value for you.